Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our Insider Insight Show. I am honored to have back with me someone who is an incredible patriot and a national treasure. We are in the season of, I guess we can call it the treasonous conspiracy season. And many people believe that, well, this is a newfound situation in our country. Oh, I wish that maybe, well, I wish we didn't have any of this, but this has been ongoing for decades. And Kirk Wiebe is a prime example of someone who blew the whistle 24 years ago about the criminality occurring in our government, about the conspiracy, the treasonous conspiracy. Kirk, along with a number of his colleagues, brought forward the fact about illegal surveillance, about how every American was being spied upon. And he was rewarded for that courage of coming forward, as were his colleagues, by having the FBI come barging into their house and ransacking their houses. Yeah, that's what happens when you tell the truth, when you bring information forward. For those of you not familiar with Kirk Wiebe, a little background. Kirk is a retired National Security Agency whistleblower who worked at the agency for over 32 years. During his tenure, he received multiple awards, including the NSA's Meritorious Civilian Service Award, that agency's second highest distinction for work against foreign strategic weapons systems. Kirk, together with his colleagues Bill Binney, Diane Rourke, and Ed Loomis, blew the whistle on NSA mismanagement and waste of billions of dollars in a complaint to the Department of Defense Inspector General, of which, well, they were treated to getting their houses raided as opposed to trying to solve the problem that they identified. Unable to stay at the NSA any longer in good conscience, Kirk, along with colleagues Binney and Loomis, retired in October of 2001. And since retiring, Kirk has made several key public disclosures regarding NSA's massive surveillance program, subverting the U.S. Constitution. He has been on the forefront of this treasonous conspiracy that was recently put forward by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. Kirk has been an integral expert in bringing information forward on the illegal surveillance that was occurring during the Obama administration. We've done a number of interviews with Kirk about this, and it's interesting. Much of the information that Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is bringing forward, and should be given tremendous credit, is information that Kirk has been speaking about on this platform for at least 7, 8 years. And here we are. It's all of a sudden new news. It's my privilege, pleasure, and honor to welcome back patriot and American hero, Kirk Wiebe. Kirk, welcome back.
Dave, I'm humbled, and thank you for having me.
So I was going through my mom. My mom was a history teacher, and I was going through her files the other day, and I came across a quote by Cicero. Run it by your take. Quote, "A nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly, but the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely," end quote. Kirk, it's what we have been dealing with on whatever it might be, the surveillance front or this treasonous conspiracy front, for not just since 2016, but for many years before that. Correct?
Absolutely, Dave. And the older one gets, the wiser one gets about human events. When we were young kids, we were all learning history. And a lot of it was boring and we didn't completely pay attention. But here we're grown adults trying to tell us something about the past. Mm-hmm. And that basic message is man tends to repeat. throughout history. And here we are, this young nation. We come into the age of technology and we use it for all the right reasons. And then some human being somewhere decides, guess what? I can use this for personal gain or for personal purpose, agenda. How about subverting an election? How about subverting a government? And so now we have surveillance, electronic surveillance, and not just electronic anymore. I mean, most people think of radio signals and phone contacts, but now we have cameras, we have things that smell the air and can detect chemicals. We have so much sensing going on around us. This society is hardly free from probing by very superior, stronger, well-equipped forces in the form of our own government, let alone what foreigners are trying to do. But the only reason anyone ever surveils innocent citizens is to control them in some fashion. And now we have the dawn of AI. Everything's coming faster under AI. Not always correct, mind you. So that's a danger. But let's not talk about that for the moment. Let's talk about how AI can actually take current surveillance and put it on steroids. We have read recently that the Trump administration has signed a deal with perhaps the largest surveillance company in the world in terms of supplying capabilities, called Palantir, run by Peter Thiel. Now, I'll be the first one to applaud the government who wants to improve its ability to find bad people.
Right.
Applause. All the support. But if you do that today, even make it stronger, more capable than it was when it was used against President Trump, what stops someone else down the road 4 years from now, 8 years from now, turning that and weaponizing it yet again against the American people?
And Kirk, that's exactly what a number of us have been talking about for the past 8 years and have been demonized, slandered, libeled, threatened, censored, deplatformed. On this platform, as you well know, March 19th, 2017, General McInerney, with the assistance of Admiral Ace Lyons, came forward and said that a tool, we'll call that tool the hammer, of a surveillance platform that was utilized to monitor terrorists on foreign lands so that they could not affect people in our homeland, was usurped, fancy politically correct word for stolen, by Obama, Biden, Brennan, Clapper, Clinton, Comey, Mueller, Rice, and was used, something that was doing good. But they took it and used it to surveil Trump and Flynn and thousands of others, and maybe even used it to look into some behind the screens, what was happening in corporations, a little insider information. But they were using it for their own political advantage, to be used to create, get information that could be used to control people, as you mentioned, right? So when people say, there's so many checks and balances in the system, this could never happen. No, Kirk, you identified this along with Bill and Ed and Diane in 2001 as being an issue. And then we saw it again which actually started, as I understand it, in February 2009, very soon after Obama took office, or was installed, or whatever you want to call it. And we saw it again with that tool, the hammer. So, as you said, now we have AI that's going to really juice, which is fine. The surveillance stuff, as long as it's being used appropriately. I mean, we have a potentially huge problem because the people, the technology might be pure. It's the people that then utilize that technology that's the problem. As a good friend of ours, Nick, says, those that have the human condition gets involved, right?
And that's the age old problem throughout history. There's good and there's evil. And that conflict has been going on for millennia. I mean, here we are.
Well, and then Kirk, when we all started speaking about this 8 years ago, that's now being spoken of now as new news. There were cockroaches that came out of the dark to deny that our government was involved in that criminal activity, correct?
Absolutely. Absolute denial. Cover up. Totally.
So now we have Tulsi Gabbard coming forward and speaking about a treasonous conspiracy. And I want to read something that General Flynn posted as she brought this information forward. Here's what he said, and I'd like your take. John Brennan, Comey, and former Director of National Intelligence and longtime bureaucrat consumed by the deep state, James Clapper, are the architects of a silent coup. They didn't just lie, they launched an internal war on a duly elected president and the American people who put him there. This wasn't oversight, it was treason wrapped in a security clearance. A covert operation carried out from within the highest levels of our own government. They weaponized the agencies we trusted. They falsified intelligence. Now he uses the word tool, kind of like hammer. Huh? They abused every tool meant to protect us and used it to target us instead. And for what? To stop Donald Trump, a duly elected president of the United States, and to undermine the American system of government and to stop you. They fear sunlight, they fear accountability, but most of all, they fear a nation of awakened patriots. We don't forget, we don't forgive, and we won't stop until justice is served. Kirk, your take.
Truer words could not be spoken. He nailed it. He nailed it. And not just Clapper or Brennan, but, it takes a team to do that kind of surveillance and that kind of subversion. There are a lot of people cooperating in the intelligence community when that happens. Those men did not operate any equipment. They planned it. They were the brains. Many others were involved. And so this may begin with Clapper and Brennan and maybe Obama and maybe Susan Rice and maybe some others. But it's going to go deeper into the agencies. They had complicit partners in this crime.
Well, and Kirk, when we came out with this in 2017, and you did more background research underneath it and said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is legit. Many people said, well, for this to have happened, too many people would have had to know, and it would have leaked out, and it would have become common knowledge. Well, let's face it, Kirk, the guy who first came out with this as a whistleblower was the guy who invented the system, this Dennis Montgomery. And look what they did to him. And that wasn't an accident. They persecuted that guy. They slandered him. They libeled him. They still do to this day. They slapped him with a state secrets privilege where if he even talks about it in public, the guy goes to Leavenworth in solitary. right? And it's still in place to this day. So if this is all like, oh, conjecture, and is it, well, what's that state secrets privilege doing on that guy?
Yeah.
And why did they go to these lengths to go after Montgomery and all of us who brought this forward? So, Kirk, the reason why people don't speak up is because they look at Montgomery and they go, "Heck, I don't want that to happen to me." Oh, or Kirk, look at Kirk, or look at Bill Binney. Mueller sent the FBI in there with guns drawn. They put a gun to Bill's head as he walked out of the shower, right? Because you had the audacity to tell the truth. Am I off on this?
No, absolutely. These are the realities that the average person is not aware of, doesn't see. You know, I live out in the country. Even my neighbors did not know the FBI was at my house that day because I live on a flag lot off the street, 400 feet back. And those 12 white vans, there were 12 of them, were parked along my 400-foot driveway. And nobody in the neighborhood knew any difference. So they came, spent 7.5 hours, and left. But let me tell you something about others, this statement that you brought up, that somebody would have had to know. Let me tell you something, Dave. When you're using electronic means to surveil, there's nothing obvious about what you're doing. You could have a coworker 10 feet away, and you are setting up knobs and machinery and switches to do a certain job. Let's say spy on Dave Janda. He has no clue. I look like I'm doing what I do every day. In other words, I don't have to do anything visibly different with electronic surveillance. I just have to set the parameters the way I want them. And if nobody's peering over your shoulder, which few people do normally, they'll never know. They will never know. And if they won't know on the operational floor of the building where it's happening, how is somebody in Congress going to know? How are you going to know? You won't.
And because Obama and crew were using this tool, the surveillance tool that they stole, they realized that they didn't have that information they wanted on Trump colluding with Russia. So they had to make it up, which is where the Steele dossier came in that was paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. And they knew there wasn't a collusion hoax, yet for years, and to this day, they maintain there was a Russian collusion with Donald Trump, when in fact, that collusion was with Clinton and Obama and the rest of them, correct?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. So isn't it interesting? You can think any number of transgressions conducted by the popular crowd in the Democratic Party, and they accuse the other side, us, of doing the very thing they're doing. Right. Now, in psychology, I'm told this is called projection. Mm-hmm. When people take what they're doing and put it on you, that you're doing it, you're projecting. And that's exactly what they do.
And Kirk, do you find it a coincidence? And early on in my time in DC, I was told there's no such thing as coincidences in DC. But do you find it coincidental that about a month before Tulsi Gabbard brought this information forward, and you got to give her a lot of credit because there was incredible pressure for her not to, right? A month before, it was announced that the FBI had found a secret room stashed full that was locked and sealed of evidence that involved files and videotapes and hard drives that were not supposed to see the light of day, from Wray being there, Comey being there, and Mueller being there. Well, Kirk, do you think it's coincidental that all of a sudden they find these hard drives when this guy who developed this hammer turned in 46 hard drive in August of 2015 to the FBI about the illegal surveillance that was being perpetrated by Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Mueller and Rice and Clinton and Biden. Do you think that's just a coincidence, Kirk?
Absolutely not. I would not be surprised if Dennis Montgomery's evidence in the form of hard drives are in that material discovered in that room. Would not surprise me at all.
And when we first started talking about this, people were saying, well, if he really turned these in, why does the FBI say they can't find them? Well, they can't wait, they can't find Seth Rich's laptop. They can't find Hunter's laptop. They can't find anything. Anthony Weiner's laptop. They can't find anything that put evidence that shows their criminality. Am I off? Am I being a conspiracy theorist?
No, it's well known in our history that classification and claims of sensitivity and the guarding of material that people say cannot be revealed publicly is notorious for being used to commit and cover up crimes. If you go to the classification law on the White House website, it says specifically in there that it is against the law to use classification to cover up a crime or any criminal activity. So let me tell you something, and this is important. People say, oh, well, what Dennis Montgomery knows is classified. It is not. Dennis is trying to show people evidence of gross corruption, of commission of crimes. That is not classified. And Dennis wouldn't have to talk about how that material, in a technical sense, was obtained. He could keep that secret in his testimony. People don't know where it comes from. They just say, oh my goodness, look at this, look at these letters, look at these emails, look at these. They have no idea of the electronics behind all that. So there would be no violation of a State Secrets Act. But nobody will accept his material. He continued.
Even to this day, correct?
Correct.
So you recently have been in touch with him.
Yes.
And is it true that he has tried to bring information forward to the current administration? And he told you he has not been successful in doing that, not because he hasn't tried, but because there has not been a response on the administration side to his offer. Is that correct?
Correct, Dave. And this is not a single occurrence. This has happened multiple times over years since 2015 when he turned that material over. He's been trying desperately to get someone to take it seriously and pay attention to what he has. Not the FBI has, not DOJ. He has specifically sent material to both of them and heard nothing, no interest. He even drew up a letter telling the president, Donald Trump, what he has, not violating any classification rules, but evidence of crimes, which is not classified.
Now, does he believe that letter got, because one of the huge problems, just as it was in Trump 1.0, there are these choke points around the president where information is sent to the president and the choke points block it. Is he fairly confident in saying he believes that letter got to the president?
Yes, he actually told me the letter got to the president in the same space where the president sat, but that the director of CIA, Ratliff, told him not to take it. So it never reached the president. So Ratliff must have been in the room. The president was in the room, and the person delivering the letter must have been in the room. And Ratliff told the president, stay away from it. Now, why? Why?
Well, I mean, Kirk, when it comes down to it, the hammer was stolen by the CIA. Brennan was running the CIA. Ratliff is currently director of the CIA. If he did that, he's trying to protect, if you will, protect the ongoing criminality in his own organization that he's the director of. Would that be a fair assessment? If he said to Trump, don't open that, open that.
Yeah,
that's a choke point. That's a choke point. That
right?
Is.
Yep. And it happens to presidents all the time.
Yeah.
And they think they're trusting somebody giving them the best advice. When in fact, here you have a case where a man has lots and lots of evidence of criminal wrongdoing by the US government. And people are trying to stay away from it. I think people are afraid of it.
Right. And that's why they hit him with that state secrets privilege, right? Now, Kirk, this is very important. A state secrets privilege is only rarely invoked, correct? And it's invoked for the most secret of pieces of information, correct?
Correct.
And that was invoked on Montgomery over a decade ago.
Yes.
And the only people that I'm aware of that can remove that state secrets privilege are the president and the director of national intelligence.
That's my understanding.
The problem is every time information is trying to be given to a director of national intelligence or the president, a choke point gets involved.
Yeah. And that's very telling. You know, people have called Dennis Montgomery crazy, all kinds of names.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And the truth is, David, what director of national intelligence would bother to saddle Dennis Montgomery with a State Secrets Act constraint, a gag order, basically?
And the ultimate of gag order, a nuke of a gag order.
If he was crazy.
Right.
It would make no sense. So this man has information vital to understanding the wrongdoing done in government by large swaths of the government. And I know that scares people in government. Mm-hmm. But if you don't clean house now, Tulsi has opened the door to serious matters. In fact, for me, it's conspiracy to commit sedition.
That's right.
It's sedition. Some people want to say treason. Nah, it's bigger than that. It's sedition. It's multiple people involved in a coordinated effort to overthrow the government. That's sedition. Now, Dennis has very good information, and people keep holding him back. I am praying somebody will finally figure it out. But after hearing Dennis's story about Ratliff, I don't know how anyone is going to ever find out about what Dennis has. He should be invited in and testify to everything he knows, and not just to the FBI.
No. Right.
No.
Or just to the Department of Justice.
Right. It should be a broader audience because of the past attempts to shut him up by these individual organizations. I would get a couple of congressmen in there with security clearances. I would get from Department of Justice, FBI, intelligence community, ODNI, and I would get maybe even the president. Yeah. But if he's above that, then send J.D. Vance.
I'd send both. I'd have both.
Both. This is too big.
And Tulsi Gabbard. By the way, Radcliffe in the Trump 1.0 administration was director of national intelligence. So if people say, I can't believe John Radcliffe would block this information from coming to Trump, John Radcliffe said on this information when he was DNI.
You bet.
The same thing that Tulsi brought forward.
You bet. So we're going to have a reckoning. We are having a reckoning. Hope. We're living it.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah. But we're living it. Yeah.
So right now, Tulsi has handed over the documentation plus more, as I understand, there's more coming, right? You do too, to the Department of Justice. Now, Kirk, okay, call me skeptical. From what I've seen out of this Department of Justice, it reminds me of the Justice Department under William Barr, the Justice Department under Jeff Sessions, right? The do nothing crowd, the shove it under the rug crowd, right? And it frankly surprises me that Kash Patel would be in that category. But so far, it hasn't been a stellar performance of him and Bongino and the rest of the crew at the FBI, including those, many of those, with the exception of a couple at the Department of Justice. You know, Ed Martin, I think, because they put Ed Martin in charge of the weaponization of government group to look at that, right? And he scares the living bejeebies out of people, and that's the bad guys. That's a good thing. But
boy, don't you?
I have no confidence in Pam Bondi. I have in a track record to look at the Epstein thing.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if Ed Martin sat down with Dennis Montgomery?
Yes.
And given immunity to Dennis, so he's not under any liability.
Right.
He's got to be given the ability to talk.
Yep.
No threats. What?
Just serve it up. Serve up the information.
And deal with it once and for all.
So, Kirk, in your heart of hearts, we know what you want. But what do you think is going to happen here? Because, we recently saw this 180-degree flip thing with Epstein, right? Oh, it's a hoax. Oh, it's all BS. Stop. He wasn't working for the intelligence agency. Oh, he wasn't blackmailing people. Oh, there isn't a list. Oh, yeah, even though the pathology is not consistent with somebody who hanged himself. Oh, he killed himself. Well, that videotape, yeah, it's missing 2 minutes and 53 seconds. But don't pay any attention to that. I mean, Kirk, and I don't think it's being, I don't know, negative. Based on all that, with this 180-degree shift with Epstein, what does your head tell you? Not your heart. Your head tell you about what they're going to do with the stuff Tulsi's handing over.
Yeah, it scares me because it tends to tell me that the game playing is going to continue to some degree about just about anything that's too hot to handle. And that's unfortunate. The truth is critical to cleanse the soul and the government. We need cleansing. And the only way that happens is to let the sun shine in.
Yeah.
And if they continue, I'll tell you, I was almost heartbroken when I heard about this attempt to still withhold the Epstein files because Trump had been so gung-ho open and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Well, Trump, Mr. President, who got to you? Mm-hmm. Who did somebody threaten you? Mm-hmm. That needs to be known. Blow it up, blow it wide open. Yeah. The American people are not too fragile to handle any truth you could possibly throw at them. Mm-hmm. Our country has gone through warfare, bloodshed, and we're going to continue to play games? I pray not. I pray not.
Well, you know, Kirk, when you talk about the men in dark suits showing up, people say, that's like a Tom Clancy movie. That doesn't really happen. Kirk, it does happen. You and I have both, what's the right way to put it, have experienced this situation. So when you look at this Epstein thing, it's evident he got visited by some men in dark suits, right? And in looking at it, and I want your take on this, and we've talked personally about this, but I think it's a good thing that people hear it. There's a couple scenarios here. They show up and they say, "Look, bud, you got big donors. Some big donors of yours, some friends of yours, and even you are mentioned in these files. Okay, you really don't want that coming out, right?" And in addition, there's so many people that are involved in the operation of the government in all three branches that are involved in this and that are in the files and in the videos that it would essentially bring down the government. Do you want that on your plate? The takedown of the entire government where it's no longer functioning? You really want that, Don? And then they might say, and Don, do you remember July 13th, 2024? In that place called Butler? Well, Don, if you don't put this under the rug, gee whiz, Don, you know what? Gosh, there could be other butlers for you and your family. And And then that brings me to the fourth part of this was I don't doubt that did not that happened. I think it did. But Trump being the deal guy might have said, I'll tell you what, I'll try to shove this under the rug, although it's going to be difficult based on I campaigned on this in 2016, 20, and 24, getting to the bottom of this Epstein thing. But okay, I'll do that. But for me to do that, there has to be some quid pro quo here. And what I want is I want the truth to come out about how you tried to throw the 2016 election. You did throw the 2020 election, that the Russia collusion situation with me was in fact a hoax and untrue. And while we're at it, we're also going to talk about the fact of how you were spying on me with that little tool.
Yes. Yes.
You see, and, I'll try to shove it under the rug, but you are going to free up you are going to remove the choke points, and you're going to allow my director of national intelligence to bring this forward. And in fact, in the process, you're going to give me some of your puppet scalps, like Obama and Biden and Clinton and Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Mueller and Rice and anyone else that I decide I want. But I'll try to shove this underneath the rug. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but I'll try to shove it under the rug, even though it makes me not look in the best of light. But that's what you're going to do. Now, do we have a deal? What are the odds, Kirk, that that conversation happened?
Very good. Very good. Yep. And what I would want, the president must have a higher calling, Dave.
Yeah.
It's fine to make deals, and there are times for deals. But when you are facing, are we going to be a force for good and be that example for all to see? Or are we going to rationalize sacrificing good to protect bad and those who have done wrongdoing? Anybody, anyone. At what price? This becomes selling one's soul at some price. Everything's a deal between the devil and the Lord. That would never happen.
No.
And it must never, ever happen.
And the hope here, if it is the force scenario I talked about, is that after he's allowed to play his hand and get his scalps, that he, I'm not going to say double cross, but reneges on that part of the deal about Epstein. Because if he doesn't, Kirk, if he doesn't, and please tell me if you think this is wrong, I think it has fractured the base so much that it will have an adverse effect on the remainder of his presidency. If he doesn't flip back to where he was on Epstein, it will adversely affect the Make America Great Again movement, and that it will adversely affect his legacy. Am I overstating that?
No, you're not. That immediately was my thinking when I heard about going soft on the Epstein files. All this time, he said, we're going to get Epstein out there, we're going to get it out there. And then for such an abrupt halt, like a screeching of the brakes.
Yeah, right.
What?
And flipping it into reverse, no less.
And it's like going back to the old way, the compromise, the giving in to evil. It cannot happen. You're right, Dave. It's already created a fissure in the block of MAGA. There's a fissure that wasn't there. It's small, but it's there. And it will widen.
Yeah.
That all cracks are going to do over time. Give them time, they'll get bigger. And that's exactly what has been set in motion, and he needs to stop it immediately. Get everything out. You know, there's nothing there. Prove it.
Right.
Show that there's nothing there.
If it's a hoax, okay, show it.
Show the hoax.
Show us where it's a hoax, right?
Exactly. He's the only guy that can save this.
Yeah.
And I pray he does. I pray for the country, its children, its people, our morals, the Constitution. There's so many reasons to do the right thing.
So, Kirk, let's say Tulsi Gabbard gets a chance to watch our interview. I want to call on your experience.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do.
What would you tell her? What would you tell her as someone who is a primetime whistleblower, Kirk Wiebe, long before Ed Snowden? What would you tell her to do to push the envelope to make the syndicate's house of criminal cards come down in the most expedient fashion?
I would first say, God bless you, Tulsi,
Hmm.
for what you've done. It took courage
Yeah.
way beyond your years, and it took a genuine caring of our system of government. So first of all, thank you. And then I would say, stay the course. Do not waver. Demand that the truth be known. People will follow you and support you. Do not bend to any rationale that suggests there's a better way if we don't tell the truth. Anyone that says that must be shoved aside. And so you may have to get at loggerheads with some people you respect and work for and work with. Stay the course. You are doing the righteous thing. Do not doubt it.
And one of the people that she, if you will, I don't know if you would say oversees, right? In the sense that the 17 intelligence agencies report to her, the direct. One of those people is the director of the CIA, John Radcliffe. The same guy who, if true, told President Trump not to open that envelope, right? When it was put on his desk.
Yeah. Doesn't make any difference. You're on a mission. The truth is paramount. All you need is the courage to commit and do it.
Frank Herbert, author, said the following: all governments suffer a recurring problem. Power attracts pathological personalities. It is not that power corrupts, but that it is magnetic to the corruptible. End quote.
So true.
But
Perfect.
one person, just as you made a difference, just as Bill made a difference, and Diane and Ed made a difference by bringing the truth forward. If Tulsi Gabbard holds the line and keeps pushing the envelope with truth and facts and data, Kirk, I actually believe it's the closest we will ever come to fixing the problem.
Absolutely right. The fact that Senator Warner came out so vociferously against her revealing this kind of information tells you what's at stake. She has a chance to carry the flag to victory. She must stay strong and stay the course.
Kirk Wiebe, I would like to thank you for all that you have done, are doing, and will do. You know, Kirk, you might have said that you retired back in 2001, but you to this day you haven't retired.
No.
And our country is better for it. And I thank you, Kirk, for holding people's feet to the fire of truth, facts, and data, and the rule of law.
So vital, Dave. I don't know any way the nation functions well without those precepts embraced fully and completely.
I thank you, Kirk, for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I thank you folks for joining us. Until next
Thank
time,
you,
Dave
Dave.
Janda signing off. Dream big, dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.